Welcome back to A Faster Me. This is CBR number 1, as you've seen from a few other videos. This is the women's for novice and 35 plus, but I think the few women in the 35 plus did not show up today, so it's just category 4 in novice. I have two teammates in the race, Audrey and Jessie. This is Jessie's first race, and she just moved here recently from the East Coast. She's done a few Grand Fondos and is looking forward to, starting out the season with a faster me and doing some racing. So excited to have her along and looking forward to see her growth this season.
So what are you doing here? This is the first lap, first corner.
Just trying to stay kind of relaxed, not let the adrenaline get too crazy because usually, nerves are a little bit high. It's the first race, so just trying to kind of stay relaxed and not out front. So here, Lily is in the Iron Fly kit, and I know she's a real strong rider, so we're going super slow, but I was like, okay, I'm just gonna try to stay behind her and be ready for when the speed picks up.
Yeah, I think I missed out with Lily too because, I tried to contact Lily during the off season to see if she was still riding for Ironfly or wanted to join a Faster Me. But yeah, I wasn't able to contact her and definitely missed out on that. She's really strong, and I can tell she's going to have a bright future in cycling as well, or in bike racing. Yeah, and I think, definitely Lily's going to be moving up pretty soon because she pretty much dominated this race. You see her on the front now, and yes, the speed is slow and stuff like that, but I think she pretty much was comfortable the entire race and just kind of did what she wanted to do.
I think she contended almost every lap, so she would put in an effort or sprint for the Mar points and the bar points, but I'm pretty sure she won almost every lap, and spoiler alert, still won the race. So it was fun to have some teammates in the race and just talk about a few different strategies of what we might try to do within the race.
And it's always good to just the first race of the season, especially in the 4-5 category. A lot of people are in their first race ever. And then, of course, some are still trying to just move up. Normally, in years past, you'd have regular Category 3 in this race also. But this year, there's no more Category 3s with the 4-5s unless they're in the 35-plus range.
And I think the other team that had 3 racers out here was QRT, so they brought a pretty good showing. And there you see a little bit of contention for the
It's just an acceleration just for that's just somebody
the Mar
attacking.
Points, okay.
Yeah, that's just someone going on attack. They're going into the turn 2. They had already passed the start-finish line.
Losing my way a little bit already, and we're in lap 2.
Yeah, you can tell it's pretty stretched out right here. Got the speed up kind of high. I think a lap ago they came through here at like 16, 17 miles per hour, and now got up to 27.
So here I'm a little bit further back than I wanted to be, so wanting to move up a little bit. The road is, as we've talked about, is a little bit beat up there. There were some potholes, and then this corner, definitely was challenging to navigate with, a little bit of the cones and that barrier sticking out a little bit.
Yeah, I'm going to pick on my wife a lot this video, especially from that turn 3, but just in general because you guys have seen our videos before. You know, I like to point out where people can make improvements on corners. So I'll probably get some hate mail of someone telling me I'm mean to my wife or something or whatever. But yeah, honestly, she doesn't get a pass, just like I don't get a pass. I have people send me messages sometimes when I do something wrong or whatever the case may be. So yeah, if I can call out other people, I definitely can call her out as well.
And that's Erica in front of me. This was her, I think, her first race, and she did a great job kind of staying towards the front. You can tell she's a strong rider. So shout out to Erica. Nice to meet you this weekend. Hope you're tuning in. And I will say I was definitely not happy with my race performance. I, was real sloppy and kind of the riding, I think, just thinking of too many things, a little bit all over the place. So, I would definitely say it was not my finest race.
No, definitely not. And like even this little sequence right here, there's a single file, everybody's kind of accelerating, and Ellen's like off to the side just riding in the wind. That's an old habit she's had before, but that's not actually what I'm going to critique her about. What I'm going to critique her about is going into corners, kind of like this situation here, where she's half wheeling a lot and everybody's taking too tight of a turn, starting to turn in a little bit too early. That's not bad from her there, but I know I saw when I was editing the video that she was half wheeling a lot going into the turn. And that's just the start of a dive bomb, basically. Even though she wasn't dive bombing and like she was never at risk of hitting anyone or anything, it's just a really bad habit to have, and I preach against it all the time. So I have to preach against it when she's doing it as well. Especially coming up to turn 3 here, the entire group is way too tight to the right, and they're pretty much too tight the entire race. I know this doesn't look too bad to everyone, but you really should not be going parallel with that barrier and fence there. They should be out to the left more, starting off with a wider turn entry, and you can navigate that turn a lot safer. When you have it tight like they just did it, it makes it most likely everyone's gonna run wide. You're gonna go across the turn instead of up with the turn. So I'll try to point it out when I see it again. But yeah, it's just a bad habit to have, and eventually it can create a dive bomb type situation.
Another couple riders, Deb and Sandy, right to the left there. Team in what is it? Team Endure.
Yes, they just don't have their kits yet, I think.
So nice to have them out here and have some familiar faces.
Yeah, well, they're both wearing green, so I don't know if they're just wearing the green or if they don't. I thought I heard them say they didn't have their kits yet, so maybe those are the kits, maybe not. I guess we'll get some feedback from them off the video, or maybe next time we see them. And then you see Audrey up there too. Audrey had a great race. She's been near the front for the most part. You can see she's just freewheeling here, definitely saving some energy. So I think Audrey raced really well. And then Jessie raced really well also for her first race. She still has a long way to go, but she's super strong, has a really good engine. So that's kind of one of the things I preach about right there too. If you just notice going in that turn, like some of the riders are going in at 2 completely different angles. And anytime that happens, yeah, you can get away with it sometimes, but the more you come in at completely different angles from the rest of the peloton, it's gonna eventually create a problem, and you're not gonna make the turn, or you're gonna end up hitting someone. And I think that actually happens later in the race.
And that was something I knew I was too far back, so I did have a little bit of a flashback of last year. So yes, I'm here drifting a little bit too far inside.
Well, it's not that you're drifting right there. It's that you guys are taking that turn way too tight. So the entire group's not giving you guys room to take the proper angle because you're too far to the right. And the entire group starts drifting towards that last cone right where the edge of the fence is. And that's just not the proper way to take that corner. If you look at some of the other races or even my race video, even though we're tight to the inside, you can see we take that corner like completely different.
So here, yeah, I think I'm just sleeping a little bit, like not paying as close attention, not being as deliberate in what I'm doing, and just get shuffled back. So a lot of the race, I'm too far back, moving up, instead of kind of holding position and staying in the front. It just, easy to lose focus, and there you can see the different angles. And
Yeah. So there, like for sure, the Go Fast rider was way too tight to the right. All the rest of the Peloton was out to the left. The Peloton is always going to cut it in and try to hit an apex. So when you take that tight line and the Peloton's out wide and they cut it in and move towards the apex of the turn, please don't think that you're getting cut off or that they're cutting you off. It's not their fault, it's your fault. Like, you're the one that's at a completely different angle than the rest of the group. And even if there's an incident, simply remove you from the equation and there's no incident. If you remove one of the riders in the Peloton, that tight rider still has a chance of hitting someone else. So yeah, you should never be entering a turn at a completely different angle than the Peloton. And technically, the tighter you are to the curb, the more at a disadvantage you're going to be, and the more you're putting other riders at risk.
And didn't want a repeat of the first race of last season. And here I should just be slotting over to get behind Audrey. I have a teammate. Instead of riding off to the side, I should just be kind of slotted in, because I'm doing way too much work and just a little bit indecisive. And so
Yeah, and it gets deceptive when you're off to the side like that and you're only doing like 140 watts. It makes you think that, oh, it's low watts, I'm not doing too much, but you're still doing less than other people that are drafting. And no matter what, 140, 150 watts, it still takes a toll on you after 30 minutes when you could be doing 100 watts.
And here you can see in the red right in front of Jesse, my teammate is Beth, CFT rider. So
Beth's your teammate?
No, in front of my teammate Jesse.
Oh, gotcha.
Beth was up there. So I think she raced excellent, and has a good result this race also. So she's come a long way, and you can tell working on the racecraft.
I got to give another shout out to Erica too. She did well with her podium on this race, and I met her. Oh, her fourth place. Sorry, one off the podium on this race. But she said she watched all of our videos while she was getting ready, so she knew the course layout and all that kind of stuff. So, that's why we make them, and that's why we put the entire video out instead of just doing some highlights. We want people to be able to see the course, see how it plays, see all the grades and everything, and then like the type of watts and speed you might need to compete at in the races or at this level.
And you can see we're picking up the speed a little bit, so stretching out. It was a little bit off and on. So I think Jessie might be up at the front at this point, because I know she took a few hard pulls. So
I think that's Jessie right there. Yeah, I think that's Jessie, fifth wheel or sixth wheel or something.
Hard to tell from way back here in the back where I should not be. So here I'm going to go again and use a lot of watts to try to get back in better position. But yeah, it was a very sloppy race.
For you.
For me.
Yes. Don't be putting
very
it on
disappointing. Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, you're just in the wind way too much. That's Audrey on the front right now.
So it was Audrey doing the work and not Jessie on this.
Yeah, but if you see,
lap.
Audrey's more to the left. So she started drifting just at the end right there, but she was definitely more to the left taking that turn. And you were definitely way too tight, and that just puts a lot of strain on your ability to navigate that turn properly and safely for everyone.
That's Tamia in front. She had a good race as well.
Yeah, Tamia joined QRT also this year. I think she rode solo last year, and then for QRT this year. She's another one that we're talking about in the off season of joining the Faster Me, and she got away as well and is racing for QRT this year. Yeah, so it's stretched out pretty good. I think this was maybe a preem lap right here, and then you see there's two young ladies up there going for the preem. I'm pretty sure it's Lily and somebody else.
Say definitely. So again, I find myself just kind of drifting back. Really didn't have great focus in this race. So there's just so much movement of kind of getting shuffled back, doing the work to try to get up front instead of just kind of staying in good position. So, this is a pretty good position to be in. So just here, got on Erica's wheel.
Yeah, and I think the problem is you're just back to some of your bad habits. It's only the first race of the year, but you're still just back to some of your bad habits of like not drafting, not staying behind people. You just are off to the side. So I think that's the majority of your focus there. And then I think a little bit of overconfidence with just being too tight sometime on the race lines.
Yeah, I would agree. Knowing that I can turn pretty well, it just creates bad habits at the pace that we're going. And, I'm not so comfortable being behind a number of riders, especially, when there is just a little bit of different skill levels that you can see, but staying up here, third wheel or something would be much better.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. Like if you look at it here, you're definitely way better than this, way more experienced than to just not be drafting ever. And you pretty much go the entire race without drafting. Now, in your defense, you still have a good finish. Like you still have a good finish. It just could have been much better if you would have drafted a little better, just been a little bit more efficient. I think, like you said, just a lack of focus.
Yeah, when your mind is thinking of so many different things, sometimes it doesn't focus on what's important at the moment. And holding position is very important. So instead of kind of like, I think I'm sounding like a broken record of the back and forth, but holding position is much better. And again, there's Lily going for, I can't hear if it's any kind of preem lap, but the most aggressive rider is the rider who comes across the finish line the most throughout the race. You get a point for each time you come across the line first.
Yeah, and at least you did do a better job of drafting right there. I wish you wouldn't have came out to the front here, but yeah, you did do a better job of drafting. If anything, you could have attacked there once that preem was over because they were going for a preem. You could have attacked there, and the three of you guys could have probably established a break.
That didn't even occur to me at the time, just because that wasn't exactly in our predetermined race strategy. But sometimes it's important to be able to kind of adjust with what the race presents.
Yeah, just notice you don't have heart rate either. I guess your monitor probably didn't pick up or something for the race.
I didn't even notice that, but I was wondering why I didn't have heart rate data afterwards on my Wahoo. So that makes sense. It was connected during the warm-up for sure, but I don't know if just too much time had lapsed.
Yeah, as you can see the group here, look how tight everyone is to that fence. That's not the angle you want to go. You don't want to, the tighter you are to the fence, it's going to force you to go straight across the road basically. And then you have to either hit brakes or try to turn a really tight angle at the end there. you definitely want to start further wide. And as you saw, there was some riders that were further to the left, some that were really tight, and then at one point you're going like straight at the riders. You should never be able to see a rider from the side, like their side or hip area. You should never be at a T-bone type angle.
Well, and there will be one there in a couple laps. And yeah, I don't think I've ever, well, I shouldn't say that, but had to hit my brakes way more times in the corners, I think, in this race than maybe is usual for a pretty flowing course.
Yeah, you guys are going pretty hard right now. It'd be a little better if you were drafting a little bit better here, but the speed was up I shouldn't say the speed was up, but the effort was high. You're at 400 and something watts for a second.
And I don't think I looked at my computer once to see my watts, to see the speed. I was just, I'd like to say focused on the race and what's going on, but focus might not be the most appropriate word for what I did in this race, but I was at least looking at what was going on around me.
Yeah, good job by Erica too, by being in her drops. Especially in a 30-minute race, you should be pretty much in your drops the entire time.
And I did let her know that I was on her inside there. So, because I did have position, but I did come up just right before the corner.
And I think that's bad position. Like, here's the thing. So, and a lot of people do it in Cat 4 and 5. I used to do it myself until you learn better. But if you have to tell a person that you're on their inside, you're out of position. You don't want to be coming up to a turn late saying inside. That means you're out of position and you're putting people at risk. If you're next to someone, you need to be at least parallel or in front of them if you're on the inside. And technically, you should never have to tell someone where you're at. You should have your bike positioned to where they can see you. If you're saying, I'm on your inside, that means they cannot see you. And that means you're out of position and therefore putting people at risk, because if they were to turn and hit the apex, you would think they came across your front wheel, but they didn't. They didn't know you were there. So you always want to position yourself to protect your front wheel, not letting someone come across your wheel. So in order to do that, you need to be either next to them or slightly in front of them.
And you need to get there early, so well before the corner. So, and I was a little bit late, so even though, I believed myself to have position and to be seen, it was a little bit too late. And here's another effort coming across the start-finish line. So I think doing like 300 watts there, and then I just drift back again. So yeah, here I find myself again at the near the back of the Peloton, and definitely wanting to get in better position. So I'm gonna try to move up here. The downhill's a pretty easy spot for me to move up usually. So here I'm in better position, but I'm not in good position there with Beth. So
yeah, and the more times like that, so like you can see everybody kind of turn a little wider. Audrey goes on an attack right here, pretty good attack. You can see that everybody turned a little wider there, but if Beth were to turn it tight and hit the apex, again, that would have been a dive bomb type situation where you put others at risk. So we definitely want to clean that up, be a good example for people, especially since we have the channel and I preach about it all the time. So as you can see there, I think that's Tamia. See how Tamia was real tight and then she went across the road? That's why you don't want to be tight like that. Like, that definitely creates a bad situation.
And I believe that the Go Fast rider right there, I didn't know who it was at the time, but I felt somebody hit my hip coming up on the inside, which is exactly what you were talking about. I had no idea that anybody was there. I'm just turning and, I felt her crash into my hip and crash. So we do have there's kind of a break established now because a number of people got caught behind the crash, but not knowing if the break is there. So that's April Kent also. Nice to see her, but
Yeah, and as you can tell in that turn 3, like there was no one in the camera view. So that definitely means like the person's behind Ellen and hit her in the hip. But anytime you're turning, like, yeah, if you're going to try to take an inside line really tight, you have to be at the very least parallel to the rider, to your outside, and the better place is to be slightly in front of that rider to your outside. And you should be there before they initiate turn in.
And Audrey had a little bit of separation, I think, with the rider going into the start-finish line. And here kind of shuts it down. She's hearing a little bit about something about a crash, not knowing if she should still kind of keep going hard. And in retrospect, I mean, there would probably be time with this level, with this number in the Peloton, if there was still a rider down to be able to shut it down. But it's okay to keep racing your bike and until told otherwise, or until there's something in the road.
Exactly. Keep going hard. When there's a crash, it's just part of the sport. Keep going hard, and when you come around to that location again, usually the officials will be there to slow you down if they need to. If not, it's just racing as normal.
And there, the rider was gone. Everything was good. Oh.
Yeah, they're not completely gone, but Jeff's going to be over there with his truck, and I think he picked her up in the truck. The truck should be on the right side of the road after this when you guys turn right. But for some reason, you went to the front and was just kind of, doing 290 watts a second ago. So again, here, everybody's too tight. You see how Ellen's angle also was too tight there. And I'm guessing Jeff may be gone already, unless he's on his way, because I know I saw his truck like when I was editing. So maybe he hasn't gotten over there to pick her up yet. And I think you guys are going into the last lap now.
Yeah. And the crash definitely threw me off a little bit. Just again, not holding position, not being in good position here. So that's Jessie there on the front. I think she's going to do a pretty hard effort.
Yeah, Jessie is so strong, and I anticipate she's going to have some huge leaps and improvement, in the next couple races. Because right now she's going hard, but this is her first race, so she doesn't understand that you can't just go hard at the front and like ride away from people. Like, she just needs more improvement on her accelerations and things like that. And I'm gonna definitely work with her on those things, and she's gonna become a force in this field for sure.
So with the slowdown, it allowed the riders that were kind of caught behind the crash to catch back up. So now we have, the majority of the Peloton back together and, trying to move up, knowing it's the last lap here. I know I need to be in a little bit better position.
Yeah, I think the problem here is you're not too bad here, but you just gotta draft. So now you're perfect. You're behind Audrey. Just stay behind her. And see, you drift here, and then you're almost dive bombing there. But we're not going to beat a dead horse. We're going to move past that. This is the last lap. Just sit here. If you sit behind Erica's wheel and draft, but you pull over into the wind again, and you're kind of just eating more wind than you need to, and you see your watts kind of spike up a little bit. It's not too high for you, but you're just in the wind instead of drafting.
Yes, I was being impatient trying to get back to Audrey's wheel that I lost instead of just staying on it the last time. So, and it would be just the same if I was on Erica's wheel, one off my teammate. And here just lacked some assertiveness. The angle was not good, and then I'm in bad position. Just way too far back.
Yeah, and I think that's Jeff just picked up the other rider that had went down. So yeah, going into this last turn, you're definitely way too far back now. It's not bad though. You see you're putting in a big effort trying to catch back up, but that just kills your sprint at the end. And even though that kills your sprint, you still make up a bunch of spots. You're probably ninth right now, ninth or 10th. And you're going to definitely pass at least, 4 or 5 people right here.
Yeah, I'd almost given up, but then I saw some people kind of sitting down and coming backwards. So I said, let me just try to keep going and see if I can pass a couple more people. But yeah, not the finest showing, but we got Audrey on the podium. I think Jesse had a great first race. So anyway, we're off to a good season. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you next race.